Hey guys, this is Deathdealer and welcome back to AutoCraft. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We've been doing a lot of work in bases and farms and stuff recently, but I think it's time we work on something that we haven't done in a little while. We're going to be working on a brand new shop in the shopping district. So a few episodes ago, when I say a few episodes, that's like 5 or 6 episodes ago, I can't exactly remember, we built the villager shop here, which has been doing fairly well. The reason I built that was obviously I do a lot of villager stuff, but when we were doing the Secret Santa stuff for Christmas, I gave Zame a few coupons for shops. One for a villager shop that I hadn't built yet, and one for a Redstone Contraption shop, which we're going to be building today. Yeah, I felt kind of guilty. It's been it's been like over 2 months, nearly 3 months actually, since we did that, and I still haven't built the shop. So I think it's about time we do that. Now this shop, I gave it some thought, and the Redstone Contraptions themselves are fine. We're going to be selling those. We're also going to be selling farms, because, you know, most farms in the game, automated farms that is, rely on Redstone Contraptions. So we're going to dedicate half of the shop to the contraptions themselves, and then another half to building farms and stuff like that. And you may be wondering, well, this is probably going to end up being a big shop. Yeah, it's a fairly decently sized. I've already planned out the thing in creative first. And I was also trying to figure out where we should put this thing. Now, if we just take a little flight up here, we've got a little bit of space in the shopping district at this point. Let's just fly up a little bit more. So we've got some space here, some space over there, some space here. Now we've got a massive area over there, which I don't think we're going to actually end up using. So I thought, well, there's this cliff face right below the Club of Diamonds right here. This was once the site of the bluestone shop. And I think, you know what, let's make use of this thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the shop right here. We're going to need to do some terraforming, obviously, to get rid of all this water and stuff. But yeah, if we put it right here, that should be grand. Now, before we get started on this, we're going to need to clear space for it, because it takes up a lot of room. And let's just say I didn't want to put it out here, because then I'd have to do an exterior. So let's hop into hyperspeed digging mode, I guess, and clear out enough room for the shop. Alright, clearing that space didn't take all that long whatsoever, and when you look at it, it looks like a lot of space. It's fairly deep into the side of this hill, but funnily enough, we're only actually going to use a small amount of this space for the actual shop itself. Quite a lot of it's going to be dedicated to redstone and water streams and stuff, due to the way we are going to be doing this shop. So what we're going to be doing is we're basically just going to have an entrance. You walk into a room, and the room there's going to be button panels on either side. You'll press a button for the item or the redstone contraption or the farm you want. A receipt will be outputted. It'll go through a water stream into a chest where you take it, you put your name on the receipt, and then you put it in the payment chest along with the payment. So it's a fairly simple process. So it is basically like Zmart, but a little bit faster. Just a little bit. But yeah, I've already taken a liberty of gathering the resources for this thing. I did that before I even started working this episode. Having the storage system that we were working on last time, it's so good for projects like this, because I can gather things super quick. What would have took me several hours before took me only about half an hour, which is quite nice. I also took a little bit of saving the shroom lights from this thing, because I think Splash was wanting to do something with them, so I'm going to be saving them for this. But with that being said, let's get into the build of this shop. So once again, we're going to be turning on hyperspeed build mode, and we're going to have a brand new shop very, very shortly. I hope you enjoy. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed that time lapse there. This project was really interesting for me, because yeah, I haven't really done a shop on this scale before. There's the 2 other shops we've built in the server by ourselves so far, and then there's this one, so it is quite a lot larger. But yeah, I am a big fan of this thing, So yeah, obviously, as I said before, this is a Redstone Contraption shop. The actual name of it did actually say Contraptions before, but when I was planning this and building it, I did something wrong and I messed up and I didn't realise until I was nearly finished, so that's why it only says Contraption now. But yeah, it looks really good. Now that this shop is actually in place, it makes this area here feel more complete. Obviously we need to do the pathways and stuff in order to actually make this area properly finished, but the fact that before there was just a raw cliff face there from before when Rustic had his shop, and even before that it was like that by default, we've now filled it up. We've done a little bit of terraforming at the top to bring the hill down into this, so it makes it look like the build is actually part of the actual hill itself. You can obviously tell it's artificial just looking at the hill there with the way I've placed blocks, but with a few touches with bone meal here and there, and whenever the builds there and over there are done, it'll mean in this area you won't really notice all that stuff. But yeah, let's go and take a look at the actual shop itself, because yeah, I'm quite liking this thing. So yeah, obviously it's quite big. These bits here are meant to showcase some different redstone components. Let me know in the comments what you think I should include in here. Bear in mind the area is quite small, maybe a small demo of a flying machine or like another redstone circuit or something. I think that would be quite cool. And since this is a redstone shop, we should start it off with the redstone circuit, being the 3x3 piston door. This is a bit slow because of the way I activate the actual circuit. The door itself is fast once it's activated, but there's a delay from pressing the button to actually activating the thing, so we need to fix that at some point in the future. I spent a while trying to fix that and just couldn't come up with anything for some reason. But yeah, 3x3 piston door, quite simple really. Walk in. As you can see, this has a similar theme to our base, because yeah, I like working in this theme. It is a little bit strange with areas like that because of lighting. I wish there was some sort of invisible lighting block, because that would fix a lot of our problems. But the idea here is this side will be like Redstone Contraptions, this side will be farms. We go up, we look through the catalogue, we see what we want, we click the button, and then a receipt will be sent over here. We then rename the receipt with our name at the end, and then put it in there along with the payment. And there you go, it should be quite simple. In fact, let's go and take a look at the redstone for that thing, and we need to sleep as well, because the redstone is actually fairly simple. So let's sleep real quick and then we'll go and take a look. So I originally planned on having a smart way of getting into the redstone in the form of a hidden piston door somewhere inside the build, but I never got around to implementing that, so what I did was I just left this area around the back here open, and it allowed us to sneak through into the redstone. What we're going to do is we're going to use spectator mode to better showcase this, because yeah, it means we can pop between walls and stuff. So basically what we've got here is you're going to power this lamp, which will power the lamp next to it, but that won't really have an effect in this system. A signal will be pulled through with a repeater, and then it will trigger a dropper, which will contain all the receipts. We will need to populate this system fairly soon. Obviously, since this circuit is fairly small, we couldn't just have it all next to each other, so we had to kind of extend it, hence why this is like two repeaters, and then this one is just the one. But the idea is the circuit will power the pistons, which will extend the redstone block into the droppers, and then it will spit out an item. And the idea behind this as well is it should be fairly quick. One problem we've had is we've got Zmart over there, which is a fantastic shop, but it's a bit on the slow side for requesting bulk, a large amount of items. But if you come over here and you're like, right, I need several different types of circuits, you can press all those buttons and then all the stuff will appear relatively quickly. And not only that as well, we're using wall streams around the back here. Sorry for the darkness, by the way. We're using wall streams around the back here, so that all the items eventually go into this hopper line right here, which is lag proofed of course. And there you go. That solves all of our problems. But all in all, that is quite good. Now let's populate these item frames with each of the farms and circuits we're going to be providing in this shop. Alright, so we've populated both these sides with the farms, or what do you call them, contraptions. I haven't populated the actual water streams in the back yet, because that's going to be a time consuming process. But yeah, here we have it. So I tried to find an item that best represented what the circuit was. If I couldn't find an item for that, I used a piece of paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through here. So we've got logic gates, monostable circuits, T flip-flops, hopper clocks, auto droppers, pulse extenders, ender stations, lava, randomizer, double piston extender, doors. I think that one. I can see that being a problem, not being able to actually see that. I might need to come up with an alternate system to see what's up there, or use recognisable items. But we've got redstone doors, we have a redstone torch key, we've got a combination lock, and we've also got a, what do you call it, shulker box unloader, or loader, whatever you prefer. Maybe I'll put a lectern nearby with what's on each row. Then it just makes things a lot easier. Then over here, we've got the farms. So I've got iron farm, cobble farm, different tree farms, so regular tree farm, 2x2 tree farms, gold farm, raid farm, slime farm, horse and wob farm, melon pumpkin, flower, willow scaly, kill farm, wool farm, guardian farm, and last but not least, trident farms. However, obviously, there's farms here and contraptions here we haven't included, but we will be offering services for those things. People, when I say people, I mean the members of the server will just have to, you know, fill out a little book saying, look, you don't have the farm I'm looking for, this is what I'm looking for, and then they DM me about it. And there you go, it's that simple. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap out the ones at the top, maybe make it a little bit more recognisable, put in some lecterns and things, and then I'm also going to populate the things at the back. And I need to populate these two item frames as well, because I haven't done that yet. Yeah, oh, that's another thing as well. I can see through in the back there, I don't like that. Let's block up this little hole to finish this thing off. You know that feeling when you record a bunch of stuff and then go to edit it and realise that your microphone channel didn't record? Yeah, that just happened to me, so I just lost like 5 minutes worth of video, so let's redo all of that stuff. So yeah, we've got the receipts in place for this shop. We've also replaced the item frames at the top with signs to make this more readable from a distance. But yeah, with these ones you still need to walk up in order to see them, but you don't need to do that, you don't need to jump and look at those ones anymore. I did attempt to use armor stands, but the problem we had was the text, because it was an invisible armor stand that was named, the text kept on bumping into each other and it just didn't look good. So yeah, we replaced them with signs and all as well. After we put in the receipts, I decided to give this system a full test, because, you know, testing is good, and I discovered that this row and this row sometimes requires you to press the button twice in order to get the receipt out, due to the way, you know, if we just go into spectator mode real quick, due to the way the pistons and the redstone blocks are with the droppers. When they're going across like this, it's perfectly fine, but when they're going down, sometimes you need to do it twice, which is a little bit strange. So yeah, that's why there's a little sign there explaining that. I also populated these item frames over here, so the receipts are going to be outputted here. So what you'll do is you'll take the receipt out, you'll put a little dash and then your name at the end of it, if possible, and then you put them in here. If you can't do that, you can always use this paper in order to do that and just put it next to the receipt. We've also got a book and quill in this lectern. Let me just put it back to the front page. Feel free to read through this. I've already read through it because obviously I wrote the thing, but it's just explaining how this shop works. So there's a second page, there's a third page, there's a fourth page, and there's the fifth page. So yeah, AutoCrafters, the Redstone Contraption shop is now open. If you need some contraptions or some farms, why don't you come on over and place a little order. Now what we need to do is we need to head outside and we need to tidy up our shulker boxes, because yeah, we've got quite a few lying around and I want this area to look finished. Let's go. Alright, we managed to get all those shulkers squared away fairly quickly. By doing that, I realised that I've got so much glass. Just look at that. Oh yeah, also we're making use of, I think it's Tweakaroo that allows us to do this, with a little shulker box preview. It's so good for this stuff, but yeah, we've got so much glass right now, which is kind of funny, so I don't need to do some trading for that for quite a while. But yeah, you know, having the storage system is just, it's super good. Obviously when you want to do projects, it's quick to grab the resources, it's even quick to put them away, so then you don't end up with a problem where you've got tons of shulkers in storage and you don't know where anything is, which is quite nice. Another thing as well, I recently emptied all 100 shulker boxes we had in here, and I took them over to the raid farm because I've been using that quite a bit recently. That's why our levels this episode are a lot higher. I think right now, if we go and check our emerald supplies, yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shulker boxes of emerald blocks. That's because I've actually been able to properly AFK that thing for several hours at a time, which is really nice. That's thanks to the use of Tweakaroo as well. I need to do some tree farming soon, because yeah, I'm kind of running out of wood for a lot of different projects. We need to handle that at some point. Speaking of other projects, we need to head into the nether and head over to the gold farming area, because Rustic and myself have both been using the piglin trading setup, and let's just say we need to make a few changes here and now. Alright, so the problem with this system isn't actually the piglin trading setup itself, it works perfectly. The problem is the storage system. Now me and Rustic have been using this thing, And the problem we've got is obviously we need to sort it manually, which is annoying in itself. But the other issue is we need to constantly pause the trading of gold in this machine in order to pick up all the items and sort them. Because what happens is it gets to the point where you're sorting stuff and then stuff gathers at your feet, and then you run the risk of stuff despawning. And we don't want that. We want to save as much resources as possible. And not only that, right now we aren't storing the likes of Blackstone or anything, which we really should be because it is a really nice building block. So what we need to do is we need to automate this storage system process. In order to do that, we need to take a few things into account. One being that the piglins need to be able to see me in order to throw items at me. Obviously we can just open these trapdoors and then they can see us just fine. Another is we need to think about where we're standing. So we're going to be standing right here as we are normally. But what's going to happen is these piglins are going to throw items at us, and normally they land at our feet. We need to set up a system where we'll say standing on a flower pot or something, and then below us is just empty space. So when the piglins throw items at us, they'll fall down into an ice item transfer system, which is then bounces items through an item system and then goes into chests and stuff like that, and then it's fully automated. Obviously we need to deal with overflow, so we'll have like a source of lava or fire at the end of that, and then that will handle all of our excess items. Sounds fairly simple, doesn't it? Since it's so simple, why don't we go into hyperspeed build mode for the third time this episode, and we can get this thing constructed. Alright guys, we've got the storage system finished. Obviously it isn't going to work right now because the filters haven't been populated. As you can see right here, there's no lights or anything turned on. So the filters aren't populated, so this thing won't work. I'll be doing that off camera because it does take quite a bit of time. But yeah, I'm liking this. It's based on the storage system that came with this piglin trading setup by Nembon with some modifications of my own. And yeah, it should work quite nicely for us. In fact, it's overkill for this setup. We could expand the piglin trading setup in order to, completely saturate this, but that isn't really an issue. One thing I have done since the time lapse is I made a modification because in the time lapse I was working on a double hopper speed filter. And after we finished recording, I started, experimenting, trying to populate the filter, and for some reason it wouldn't work, so I've had to go back to a single hopper speed item filter, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's alright. We don't need a double speed one for this setup. This is more than adequate. So I've got 3 chests plus a, what are those called? Barrels. Yes, barrels. So you've got barrels, a buffer, and then you've got 3 chests, and then there's like 14 chests for gravel, or 14 lines for gravel, 14 for blackstone, 14 for spectral arrows, 14 for iron, and then round this side the mix is a bit different, but as you can see it is fairly simple. Unlike up there, I went with the blocks on the floor as compared to up there we used item frames, mainly to reduce lag, because item frames do cause lag. So yeah, I just didn't want this area to be spammed with them. But now that this setup is done, I'm going to be doing some AFK over this farm soon, because I want to collect a bunch of gold so that I can do a bunch of trading, because yeah, I'm going to need a lot of resources. Rustic's going to need a lot of resources. Splash is probably going to need a lot of resources. So it's a good thing we got this thing up and running when we did. Alright, so this episode has been really interesting. We've got a new shop up and running, probably the biggest shop I've built to date. That isn't a collaborative project. And we got that piglin trading hall storage system finished. The good thing about this shop is it means that in future episodes I'm going to be doing a lot more collaborations, because the whole idea behind this is, yeah, we are doing, contraptions and farms for people. But that also means that we get together, talk about some stuff, and then we get some videos out of it, which is quite nice. So who knows, you might actually see some more episodes from me, more than what I normally produce coming up soon, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a bunch of AFKing in between episodes, because the next episode, we're actually going to be doing some more work on the base. As in, we're actually going to start building stuff above ground that isn't the storage room, so make sure you stay tuned for that. After you finish watching this video, I want you to go onto the community page of my channel, because what I normally do is I normally have a poll where I ask people what their opinions are on this episode. So if you want to share your opinion, why don't you let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments? Go over to that poll. If you don't know where to find it, you can just jump my Discord and look at the community post section, because I always ping people when I put up a poll, and let me know what you think about that video. And hey, if you like it, well, why don't you subscribe? Because yeah, I do this stuff all the time. And not only that as well, we've got a bunch of other members here. If you just watch my content, which, come on, watch everyone else as well. I do good content, but there's a lot of people on here that do some interesting stuff as well, so make sure you go and check all of those guys out. I'd like to thank you all for watching this episode of the AutoCraft so far. Make sure you go and watch everyone else on the server. On the left hand screen right now, there are 2 videos, one that YouTube wants you to watch and one that I think you should watch. Make sure you go and watch them, and remember to leave a like, subscribe, and hopefully you will enjoy the videos.